Okay, so this is my critique of Alyssa Hinton and Thomas Tucker's videos. I will begin with Alyssa Hinton. On hers, I noticed that immediately her location of her camera could have been better chosen. It seemed like she had something cutting off at the top that was preventing you from seeing her from a better angle. Also, because she had the window behind her, the lighting was very poor. It had a very bad overcast on her. With this, that kind of affected the overall impact of the speech because by watching the speech with all the distractions from lighting, location, and also her attire, like I feel like with a speech, knowing that people were going to be watching it, even a T-shirt would be a little bit better than the cut-off sleeves. Um, as far as her speech was, it was a very interesting story for what she did when she was in seventh grade. Uh, she could have used more vocal inflections and range to emphasize what the students were saying, her reaction, the teacher's reaction, things of that nature. Um, Also, she could have gave a moral of the story because it was something that she learned from mistakes she made. So, a moral of the story to kind of wrap it up and give a purpose for the speech would have been a nice addition. As for Thomas Tucker's, I believe he had some kind of background noise. It could have even been something, maybe an aquarium. Whatever it was drowning out the volume of his own speech. Um, and also his beginning. Uh, each speech should have came with an introduction saying who he is and what his purpose is. Just that way, because I didn't know who he was, I had to go back and look his name up whenever I was getting ready to write my notes. Um, and because of the interference noise, I had a hard time hearing him or his story, and it felt like that was an interference. His story was nice. It was a family story. I wish he would have had more details just to make it a little bit longer, because I believe the running time was about a minute and a half, and I think he just with a little bit more details could have expanded upon that. As for my personal story, my self-evaluation, I noticed that my lighting was bad. The time of day I chose to record that affected that tremendously, and so my lighting was off. As far as what I could do to improve the speech, I should have found a way to shorten the story time because it did run very long, even with giving details and such. Also, I can cut out a lot of the uhs and ums that I'm even doing right now. So there it is again. I also need to expand upon personal vocabulary. That way, I don't use the same wording over and over and over, such as howevers and frequently and things of that nature. As far as the story, I like the story because it is my story, but that is my critique of both Alyssa Hinton and Thomas Tucker and my own self evaluation.